Alright, what's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Today is the 17th of July, 2026. This is a video under our main side. One of the four sides to us as In the Image Clothing Company, where our slogan is allowing the body to work. What does it mean? Why are we a clothing company? Clothing is the only thing physically placed on the human being. The literal wording, hats, gloves, shoes, pants, socks, tops, undergarments, glasses, jewelry, anything, bags, backpacks, anything placed on the body, whatever it is, the literal word of clothing, okay? But the human being just grows by itself, designed in the image of God. There's only one way the human body could ever possibly work. Truly, it's mathematics, just measurable mathematical degrees of hinges, levers, and rotations determined by the shape and length of our bones within this universal human design. It's always been the exact same, and it always will be. Okay, designed in the image of Jesus Christ. Here's your clothing company to be intentional, because clothing has to, at very least, stay centered, fit correct, and be made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials. There's reasons as to why. There's a vertical pull to gravity. It comes down and meshes with this perpendicular or right 90-degree angle with the horizontal surface of the planet Earth. But the vertical pull to gravity meshes with the center line of our bodies, the sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, the jaw stabilizing the entire body, with musculature up to the crown of the head, down to some of the upper ribs, and out to the edges of the shoulders. This jaw musculature going evenly through the collars of our tops. They need to stay centered and snug, okay? We are a clothing company, In the Image Clothing Company. Why? To allow the body to work. Our slogan here, under our main side, allowing the body to work. Clothing's just the literal wording of anything physically placed on our bodies, okay? The way that God clothes the fields with grass, we clothe our bodies. So the big focus is to focus on this and not everyone else that's surrounding all the time and looking at me when I'm doing this in public, right? But what we have is joints of material of clothing meshing with joints of body parts, okay? Clothing fitting correct. There's no opinion to it. The universal human design, unless you're different from the universal human design, which we can address things if and where needed, there's just only one way the body works. And then even then, you have to get as close as you can, just as I do, to the universal human design's functioning because of these universal laws outside of all of us. Gravity and just physics, mechanical motion, this human being just being a mechanical machine placed onto this rock in space we call Earth, right? So, yeah, matter cannot be created or destroyed. What everything's made up of on a small level, it's just natural. The goal is natural on all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. I feel like I have to yell over all the surrounding sounds, bro. There's just about not a quiet corner in this entire town here in Utah County. It's absurd. So, we can make unnatural things from natural things, but they always decompose back to natural. The body's only natural. We're literally all that we have eaten. That's it. You eat plants that grow from the earth, or animals that eat plants that grew from the earth. It becomes the human being. Once we die, the body just decomposes back into the planet Earth. It's always been the same stuff. Okay. So let's talk about this. This video's title, 17th of July, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main side, the thumbs push down and the fingers pull up. The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. We talk about the neutrals to the entire body. The entire body has a neutral position in everything. Okay, the pelvis from posterior or anterior rotation, there's a neutral position. The wrist from lifting up or going down, there's a neutral position. Internal or external rotation in the forearms, the entire arms, or the lower legs or the entire legs, there's a neutral position. The feet, dorsiflexing, lifting up, or plantar flexing, pointing down, there's a neutral position. Anyway, there's a neutral position to the entire body, meaning the entire human being resides in its neutrals, and then we can go outside of those neutrals for functioning. But the way the body stabilizes is by opposing muscles, doing all that muscles could ever possibly do, and pulling, but pulling on the opposing sides to the neutral position, because the body can only possibly do what it's made to do, designed by God to do. abiding by universal laws, these bones connect directly to each other through ligaments, and the body just, has very specifically shaped and lengthed bones. They can't ever do anything else besides what they can do, okay? There's only one way the human body could ever work. It's always been the exact same. It always will be the exact same. No matter who thinks they have some kind of breakthrough on it, that's impossible to have. The body grows by itself, all right, in this universal human design. But a lot of very key points. So we're going to discuss some of this, okay? The 17th of July, 2026, today's date, in the Image Clothing Company's main site here. Wow, okay? The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. Because the neutral to the wrist is with the arms just hanging down, okay? We have to remember this, though. We're going to talk about this, that we have different length for fingers that wrap evenly around a different length opposable thumb. We can talk about it as we do. One of our titles to one of our videos under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here currently, the open palm and internal rotation. Well, internal rotation is when the shoulders come up. External rotation is when the shoulders go down, pivoting up and in on the collarbone called clavicle, or down and out on the collarbone called clavicle. Okay, one of the three bones of the shoulder here on the front of the upper part of the chest, from the sternum in the center out to the edge of the shoulder, this collarbone called clavicle, it just pivots around, okay, bone to bone on either end. It only could ever possibly do what it does. It's like a stick. The bones of the body, they're essentially just sticks, immovable by themselves, only moving where they join at the joints of bones, right? Like I say, joints of material of clothing meshing with joints of body parts. Okay. Let's talk about this. 17th of July, 2026, in the Image Clothing Company's main site here. The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. Now, yeah, so gravity exists on our planet Earth. The pendulum of the hand gets pulled down from the other end of the shoulder with Earth's vertical gravity pull, and gravity pulls us into good posture. That is the truth. Mathematically, you can measure it. Don't believe me. If you got a question on it, find out the truth of it. And we discuss it clearly. We discuss the anatomy of the human body in depth here under In the Image Clothing Company's main site. We give a lot of free modifications in clothing to not alter the body. Okay? With universal clothing imbalances being shipped across the entire Earth in modern 2026 in ways that could have never possibly happened in the past because we didn't have the technology for that to be the case. Alright, so we get into chronic patterning, trying to work around imbalances in our bodies, but imbalances to the only thing physically placed on our physical bodies, the literal word of clothing our bodies with anything, is going to have the most direct effect on our bodies that anything else in life possibly could. Everything we're doing in life, we're doing it in and through the literal word of whatever we're clothing our bodies with. In the Image Clothing Company, the 17th of July, 2026, today's date, the thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. This video's title. Watch this. The pendulum of the hand just hangs with Earth's vertical gravity pull from the other end of the shoulder. If the rest of the body's not altered, there's only one way this could possibly happen. God designed the Earth, and then he designed the human being to place onto the Earth, and physics is just what it is. So the feet, can't be altered. The term zero drop in any brand of shoe, just flat on the bottom. We've got man-made shoes design, with heels under our God-made feet heels on our man-made shoe heels. It'll just change how the entire body works with Earth's vertical gravity pull. Okay. It'll point the toes, the whole foot, the lever of the foot off the hinge of the ankle. It'll plantar flex it constantly. Okay, it's just a wedge, a heel under a man-made shoe sole. So damage, right? It's mathematics. There's only one way the human body could ever work. It'll always be the exact same. It's not only that it has been, but it always will be. Just like God, who we are designed in the image of. The same yesterday, today, and forever is Jesus the Christ. There's no opinion to the human being only being what it is. We couldn't possibly take credit for it. Just as we cannot take possible credit for our information. Yikes, I'm struggling to get through this. Because of all the stuff I'm battling that, it's hard. Anyway, let's talk about this. It's just what it is. We don't have any kind of breakthrough on the human being, as in the Image Clothing Company. It's impossible to. The body just grows by itself. It's always what it is. So the thumbs point down. Okay, they push down, the fingers pull up. There's a neutral wrist, and so when gravity just pulls the arm down and it's just relaxed, your feet are flat on the ground, and the term zero drop in any brand of shoe, you've got pant waistlines that are at least horizontal, or maybe very slightly higher in the front than the rear, just so that the waist is horizontal, the hips, the pelvic structure of the human being, because there's a neutral to it that meshes with the bottom of the feet on the horizontal planet Earth surface, right? There's only one way the human body could ever possibly work. There's no possible opinion to it, myself included. So, as we mathematically measure the functionality of the human being that will never possibly change, we can see that the arms hang vertical like this, straight down from the shoulder to the hands with Earth's vertical gravity pull. And here, you have to clear your thumbs from your sides. The neutral wrist is with the thumbs pointing up, with the elbows bent, or the thumbs pointing straight forward with the elbows straight. But you have to be able to clear your thumbs from your sides. And so the hands naturally are just back a little bit like this, with our thumbs basically pointing straight down to the ground. I mean, that's really the neutral to the wrist. Well, not just basically. I mean, that's what's happening. The thumbs just point down to the ground, or else they can't even clear the sides. If your wrists are in like this, you hit your own fingers into your own legs. You can't walk. It's impossible to just swing your arms forward and back without your hands being out of the way. Okay, so as the thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. This video's title, actually, on the 17th of July, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main side, the thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. Now you've got a neutral wrist, but the entire arm is all one thing. When we straighten the elbow between the hand and the shoulder, the entire arm does the exact same thing, okay? Internal rotation and external rotation from the neutral, or just anywhere the hand goes, the shoulder goes, when we straighten the elbow between the two, because of Earth's vertical gravity pull. Pulling the pendulum of the hand down from the other end of the shoulder. This is the same for the literal wording of everybody who has one, and everyone who has a body. There's always only one way the human being's bones grow, and the only way the body works is if the muscles connect to these bones through tendons and pull. That's all the human being could ever do, is just the shape and length of its bones. So, this video is titled, the 17th of July, 2026, another date-marked documentation here, under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company, to show congruency, longevity, and just credibility, but also just to give you free, permanent truth that I don't get to decide or change, and none of us do as a human being. The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. Because as this happens, well, the entire arm comes up and internal rotation, or down and external rotation. Just pivoting bone to bone on this collarbone called clavicle. There's only one thing it could ever possibly do, and that's come up and in toward the body, or down and away from the body, because muscles connect to bones direct through tendons, and they can only possibly ever just pull to work or do anything, and they can only pull these endpoints directly in line. There's only one way the shoulder connects to the spine. In the center line of the human body, meshing with Earth's vertical gravity pull, there's only one way the human body could ever work. And so as the arms come up and internal rotation, the thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. Meaning, to figure out where the neutral wrist resides in the human being, well, you have to clear your thumbs from your sides. And this only happens if it's this idea of pushing down, essentially, with the thumbs. But that's pulling up, essentially, with the fingers. Because we've got 4 fingers that are an entirely different thing than the one opposable thumb. The fingers are just straight out the entire arm. Okay? The same in-line position, clear from the shoulder capsule, all the way out to the fingertips, just is there. That's the neutral to the wrist, straight out the outside of the forearm, down and out the pinky finger. Just the only way the bones connect in the fingers. There's no possible opinion to how the human being could ever possibly work. There's only one way it could. I feel like I need some kind of like angry eyebrows, you know, like I'm just so mad about this. It's just hard to get through the videos. It's hard to, you know, it's hard to be me. Anyway, so the thumb's entirely different than the fingers. The fingers wrap evenly around the thumb. They're completely different lengths. The fingers are much longer than the thumb in a sense, and they're going straight out the arm, and the thumb's coming straight off the side of the arm. I sneezed. Okay? The thumb is basically coming with a 90-degree angle off the hand, or the entire arm. Okay? Just like the vertical pull to gravity comes down to the horizontal surface of the earth, and it's a 90-degree perpendicular angle. I mean, that's essentially how the thumb and the hand's fingers are. The thumb comes straight down, and the fingers go straight out. Like if we just put our arm out to the side. The thumb and the fingers play entirely different roles. This video is titled the 17th of July 2026 under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. Another permanent date-marked documentation of truth that I don't get to decide or change, neither does any human being to ever live. There is only one way the human body could ever possibly physically mechanically operate, just determined by the shape and length of our own individual bones that grow the same within this universal human design. The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. And so that's how we just have an open shoulder capsule. And that's also just how we clear our thumbs from our sides. Otherwise, you can't, you know, and you can't even walk if your thumbs don't push down while your fingers pull up to get this neutral position to the wrist. Watch this. The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. This is just like reaching out to grab something. Otherwise, you can't. If your thumbs are just like pointing in toward your body, hello there, hawk-looking bird. What do they call those birds? The birds of prey. There's a word, I might think of it, but if the thumbs are just kind of in toward the body and the fingers are just kind of in, you literally hit your arms into your legs if you don't just compensate by dropping your shoulders to clear your hands from your legs. Can you say permanence? This is truth. This is the only way the human being could ever possibly work, because as the shoulder comes up and internal rotation toward the body, so the arm can just hang vertical with Earth's vertical gravity pull, the thumb pushes down and the fingers pull up. Now you've got a neutral wrist and an open shoulder capsule and the ability to clear your own leg with your thumb. There's only one way the bones connect in the human being, in this universal human design. Today's the 17th of July, 2026. This is a video under In The Image Clothing Company's main site, titled, The Thumbs Push Down and the Fingers Pull Up. Okay. Now you're neutral. On Earth's vertical gravity pull, and through the entire arm. Okay, as well. You know, the thing is, you just have to be able to have your arms get to your own sides. And if not, you'd just never be able to even walk and clear your own thumb from your own leg without compensation through the entire body. All right. So we've got feet down at our foundation, gripping arches inward, opposing the center line of the human being evenly, keeping us vertical on Earth's vertical gravity pull. We've got shoulders, the top end of the hand, if you will, contracting, pulling, even opposing musculature right and left into the center line of the body at the spine. that meshes with Earth's vertical gravity pull. There truly is only one way the human body could ever possibly work. It's just a mechanical machine determined by the shape and length of its bones that grow by themselves, fueled by food and lubricated by water. There's only one way the human body could ever work, right? There's no possible opinion to it. There's a lot of opinions on it, though. There's a lot of things in modern 2026 that get us into chronic patterning, that damage our bodies deeply. Scar tissue gets built up in the body, and bone spurs get built up in the body, where we've got bones being pulled on by the musculature, which is normal to have happen, evenly opposing a neutral to stabilizing the neutral. That's this even opposing pull of musculature. But if things are imbalanced, the muscles pull on the bones, and where they connect to the bones through a tendon, the muscles pulling on the bone makes the bone grow excessively misshapen and enlarged, okay, much larger than natural. And the shape is just different than it ever could possibly just work normally in. Okay? There's only one way the human body could ever work, but clothing, the literal wording, it's not about fashion, it's nothing to do with any opinion. You place something on something else and it's on it, you know? The literal word of clothing with the human being means that, yeah, like I said earlier, everything we do in our lives, we're doing it in and through the literal wording of clothing. And if it's just in the way, then it's just in the way. But this video's title on the 17th of July, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main side, the thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. Also, you know, we just mesh the thumbs together with the fingers. So the thumbs push as the fingers pull, and they meet each other halfway. And now you can clear your own side with your thumbs. Okay, your own legs can be cleared by your thumbs just with the Earth's vertical gravity pull, hanging the arm down straight, vertical, so you can just relax, you know? Gravity just hangs your arm there, and you can just relax. If your thumb pushes down as your fingers pull up to get you into this position of a neutral height to your shoulder, a neutral thumb to clear your own leg, and then the fingers back out of the way from not hitting into the leg as well. There's only one way it happens. It's mechanics, it's physics, it's mathematics, it's the shape and length of the bones, it's Earth's vertical gravity pull, and it's permanent, eternal truth. But the thing is, you know, there's no exercises to do to get gravity to pull straight down on you. Gravity pulls straight down on everything, the exact same on its surface of the Earth. The Earth's gravity. You know, gravity has the same effect on our clothing. Hey! That it has on our bodies. Clothing is the literal wording of anything physically placed on our physical bodies. In The Image Clothing Company has this as one of our fourths, our main side here, with this video's title on the 17th of July, 2026, today's date, titled, The Thumbs Push Down, the Fingers Pull Up. You never have a straight elbow if you don't get the bones into a position where the elbow can straighten. Try to put your wrist in and straighten your elbow. Well, maybe you could straighten your elbow, but now walk. You can't. It's impossible. The thumb pushes down, the fingers pull up. This is the only way the human being could ever work. This is the only way you could ever grab something. Okay? Did I mention the word battling through things? That's 3 words. Airplane noise. Permanent truth, okay? It's documented. The information's here in The Image Clothing Company. So, I mean, tops have to fit. You know, clothing has to fit. Clothing has to fit, Mr. Airplane Pilot and all those in that field over there playing soccer. I could imagine someone's just right behind me watching me, just laughing at me. yelling to this tree stump with a t-shirt and a little device on it by myself in this little wooded area. Here's the thing. The edges of the top, you know, a t-shirt, even like a dress where it's on your shoulders, a coat, a jacket, a hoodie, a cardigan, an overcoat, you know, I mean, like, there's different types of coats, there's different types of whatever. I mean, anything you could call a top, like anything at all placed on your shoulders, we need edge seams right at the very edges of the shoulders, because this is a seam or a joint, as we were saying earlier in this video, of material meshing with these joints of these three bones becoming the shoulder. It needs to be in the same location so the motion that's just there can just be there, otherwise it just can't. Really, you know, there's motion, a different location in the top than there is in the body's bones if the joints don't line up. The body's bones and then the joints of material of clothing. So, yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is to get this neutral wrist, to get the thumb to be able to clear the side at all so you can just walk, otherwise you literally physically can't without dropping your shoulders, because the collarbone or clavicle comes down and out, or up and in. It's just bone to bone on either end. There's no possible opinion to it, like workout to try to get better posture or something. There's only one way that bones connect in the human being, in the universal human design. It's always the exact same. Always meaning every generation of human being to ever live. It's universal, eternal, permanent truth. Watch this. If the thumbs push, the fingers pull. The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. And it's just mechanics. That's your neutral wrist. So, you know, sleeve cuffs. We talk about sleeve cuffs needing to be off the wrist, long sleeves, you know, the importance of even short sleeves and keeping short sleeves short. Those are two video titles under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here currently, as of the 17th of July 2026, today's date, that I personally filmed as the founder and leader for life of In The Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong. But long sleeves as well, you know, there's a video here, currently at least, under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company, as of the 17th of July 2026, titled, How Sleeve Cuffs Affect Body Mechanics. And you have to have your sleeve cuffs up off of your wrists, because you have to get your wrist back like this, with the thumbs pushing down, and the fingers pulling up. The back of the hand has to be able to come out a little bit away from the body, just to be able to clear the legs with the thumbs. Otherwise you do not, and you can't even walk. So, yeah, you have to have your sleeve cuffs up off of your wrist, you know, just right above your wrist, so you can actually move your hand next to your own leg. Otherwise, Earth's vertical gravity pull, pulling the pendulum of the hand straight down from the other end of the shoulder, pulling us down into good posture. Truly, there's only one way the human body could ever possibly work, as long as we don't alter it. Yikes. I know I'm finger pointing with my words. I get it. I understand. I know. I really do. I'm aware. I am. Truly. Anyway, sleeve cuffs that are too long, you'll never possibly just be able to have a normal shoulder height. What do I normally do? Oh, this. Yeah, I was doing it earlier, but this up and internal rotation, down and external rotation is essentially the same as a neutral wrist cocking back at the hands so the thumbs clear the sides, versus the wrist coming in and dropping the shoulders down so the hands hit the legs. I mean, you can't keep your elbows straight, vertical with Earth's vertical gravity pull, with your hand in, because you have to clear your side with your hand. But now, in order to get the arm straight down with gravity, you'd have to try to bend the arm. It's impossible otherwise. It's just bones that are immovable by themselves, only moving where they connect at the joints of bones. Okay. There's no possible opinion to it. There's only one way the human body could ever work. I don't have a breakthrough. I just have a deep understanding on the anatomy of the human being. But the thing is, you can have an understanding of the anatomy of the entire body deeper than I currently have as the founder and leader for life of In The Image Clothing Company, me, Evan Strong, as of the 17th of July, 2026, today's date. But it doesn't matter how much you understand how it should work if you don't know why it's not just working. This is the point, and this is the truth. Look at the animals if you don't understand this with human beings. But God designed the body to work. All the animals out there, their bodies just work. They just do what they do when they walk and run and just live their lives. Human beings have all these different posture problems, posture patternings, chronic problems in the body where there's only one way the human being's bones connect from birth till death. I mean, we're still forming until we're full grown, essentially, but there's just this universal human design that only could ever possibly have physical motion at the locations where the bones connect to each other. But we have this thing that animals don't have. Okay, I'm saying that just so you can get a perspective on the truth, like an understanding of how you can see this if you don't see it yet. Speaking of animals, there's a goose, right? It made noise earlier in the video as well, but yeah, there's a river just right here. What I'm saying is, clothing, the literal wording, I mean, it's not like this view on fashion or this view on liking clothing in any way. You don't have to. You don't have to even care to want to try to start to care about clothing at all. But you have to be intentional about the only thing physically placed on your only physical body. The literal word of clothing, it's just in the way if it's in the way. If you've got something oversized, an oversized top, it's just in the way of your arms hanging down next to your own sides with Earth's vertical gravity pull, and then you'll never be able to possibly, I'm talking literal, mathematically possibly, no possible opinion to it, it will be physically impossible for you to hang your arms just straight vertical with Earth's vertical gravity pull and have this video's title on the 17th of July 2026 under In The Image Clothing Company's main site happen, where the title is, the thumbs push down, the fingers pull up, right? This neutral wrist, it will be impossible for you to have if you have an oversized top and a gap between your elbow or any of your arm in its entirety and your own side. Because you can't just swing your arms next to your own sides with gravity just pulling them straight down if they hit into something. But if they hit into something and have to go out to the side, your wrist comes in, because the only way you can have your wrist actually back is if your elbow straightens, because all the muscles from the fingertips stem clear up here at the elbow before they can ever get to the fingertips. And so the elbow joint has to have its full extension and contraction. Well, yeah, fully extended and fully closed at the joint of the elbow for the hand to be able to have its full motion. Otherwise, it's just limited because everything's just on an angle. The body's a kinetic chain. It's all connected. Everything in the human being has its own individual role it plays, and it would be impossible for the hand to play the same exact function as the knee, or the foot to play the same exact function as something absurd, the hip. Just to say that everything is very specifically shaped in the human being that grows by itself, right? Designed in the image of God, there's only one way the human body could ever possibly physically, mechanically operate. And so we can't place clothing onto it. We get into chronic patterning with any imbalances in clothing whatsoever. You know, clothing not fitting correct, staying centered, and being made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials. You know, and just no stretch, because muscles only pull together. That's the only way they could ever possibly do any kind of physical work or motion. And stretch in clothing is just new, tens of years ago from today's date, the 17th of July, 2026, but just this time period, right? It's an invention of human beings that got started to put into clothing. Got started to be put into clothing, yeah. And Yeah, stretch goes the opposite direction of the only way the muscles could ever possibly work, which is pulling. So, anyway, just having clothing be proper, we discussed it extremely detailed, thoroughly, clearly under In The Image Clothing Company here. We have well over 600 videos as of today's date on our main site alone. One of our four is this one here of In The Image Clothing Company, with our slogan being allowing the body to work. Yeah, we give a lot of free modifications in clothing to allow the body to work. And, in all the ways and every part of the body, anything we're literally clothing it with at all. And so what happens is, oversized clothing without joints of material of clothing meshing with joints of body parts, the body gets damaged. And, then you don't have this video's title specifically, right? The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up on the 17th of July, 2026, under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. Well, that's the thing, like I was saying, right? The shoulders come up in internal rotation or down in external rotation. Like we could bend the elbows, point the thumbs straight up, and then rise the shoulders, and internal rotation would happen in the two bones in the forearm, the radius and the ulna, from the wrist up to the elbow. And then drop the shoulders, and external rotation would happen in the two bones in the forearm, the radius and the ulna. These two bones just rotating over each other. What is all this noise? I don't even know. But we could also just show it with the neutral wrist, with the shoulders at their neutral height. That's the elbow at the natural waist. Above the hip bones, but below the lowest ribs, because there's only one way the human body could ever possibly work, and there's no possible opinion to it that could ever possibly matter, not myself included, if I had one on it. It's measurable mathematical truth. It's eternal, designed in the image of an unchanging God, Jesus the Christ. Here's your clothing company, the 17th of July, 2026, In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. Hello, son. The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. So I can show it like this too, I couldn't make it up. I couldn't. This is cool though, the sun coming through. I couldn't make it up. I couldn't make it up. As much as I talk about it, I only talk about it as much as I feel is actually needed. There's so much that I don't talk about and try to just get over, if you will. All the stuff I have to battle through to just get a simple video filmed. No matter where I try to do it. I know it's a public place, it's just what it is, but this is beautiful. This is beautiful visually. That's amazing. The sun coming through here. Permanent truth. I mean, you're doing stuff that really matters, and you've got to battle through things a lot of the time. Stuff comes up because it's so impactful. I mean, we've got In The Image Clothing Company podcast, one of our fourths to us as In The Image Clothing Company, with discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. We're on episode 210 as of today's date, the 17th of July, 2026. And it's just what it is. Like I say, you don't have to be religious or believe in anything. We're all human beings. We're placed on the same earth. We're designed by the same God. And it's always just what it is. Life's just life. Before we can have an opinion on what it is, it has to be there first. And so when I'm talking about stuff like this and delivering messages on this, how there's so much going on, all these surrounding sounds, and I talk about it happening when I start filming, I'm not making it up, and it's not something you have to try to believe. It's just the truth. I mean, it just happens. And people, I mean, you know this if you know this, right? It's a testimony to the truth of all this, though. I mean, when you're doing things that really matter, stuff pops up because you have to be willing to keep enduring. You have to be willing to keep pushing through and keep trying and keep just working hard, man. That's stuff that doesn't really seem like work to some people. Some people just don't see what you're doing, but time will tell. And really, God is the only one we ever need to possibly try to please in our lives. God is my witness in all truth. I mean, I mean this. Just to be very clear. I mean, I mean this. This is a real, like, I'm serious. Okay? Because this is permanent. This information we deliver under In the Image Clothing Company, as long as it aligns with how the human being grows by itself, as long as it aligns with the truth of God, and there is this universal human design, we're designed in the image of God, in the image of Jesus Christ. That's why we are a clothing company here. Our 5-word company name, In the Image Clothing Company. Any information we deliver that just aligns with this truth of how the universal human design is, it's permanent. My grandkids, great-great-grandkids, grandkids, and my grandparents, great-great-grandparents, great-grandparents, on any end of time, anywhere you want to go, whatever you want to try to discuss, man, woman, tall, short, skinny, fat, any age, any part of the earth, any time period to ever be, you're just a human being within this universal human design. Our information's permanent, and because of that, there's so much that I have to battle through because it's such a big deal. To document things like this that people just don't know if they don't know. So here we are, the 17th of July, 2026, In the Image Clothing Company's main side. The thumb pushes down. The fingers pull up, okay? What I'm saying is we can rise the shoulders from their neutral height. We can raise them up, and the wrist comes back even more. It's essentially that the thumbs are pushing down even more, and the fingers are pulling up even more than from their neutral, okay? With the thumbs just able to clear the sides of the human being's legs in this universal human design. I mean, we've got different proportions if and where we do, but the bones are still just the shape and length that there are. There's the same 206 bones in every body who has one and every one who has a body. If we drop the shoulders from their neutral position, just the measurable mathematical degree of motion the shoulders have, either up or down until the bones hit into each other. There's no possible opinion to it. You can measure it mathematically. There's only one way the human body could ever possibly work. Dropping the shoulders down, though, the hands would come in and hit the legs. Up at the neutral, the thumbs clear the sides. Raising the shoulders excessively high to the high end of the neutral, the hands would essentially come out like this, farther away from the body. The thumbs pushing down more, the fingers pulling up more. The neutral is neutral with Earth's vertical gravity pull, and the low end of the neutral for the entire arm stemming at the shoulder down to the hand is the fingers hitting the sides, and now you just have to kind of like step your body apart from itself to just clear your own legs with your hands. But there's a neutral. Mathematically, there's a neutral. No opinion, no breakthrough, no new information, no exercise plan to get there. God designed the human being to work. It works, unless or until altered. Within our own individualistic situations, we've got our own bodies. Maybe you've got a deformity from birth. Maybe you've got an amputation that happened along the way. You've always still got Earth's vertical gravity pull. This video's title, the 17th of July, 2026, under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here. The thumbs push down, the fingers pull up. In the Image Clothing Company, poodles, In the Image Clothing Company music. I mentioned In the Image Clothing Company podcast, and here you are under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. Check out the 4 sides of us if you'd like to. This is one of them, but the other 3 sides, you know, we do what we do there. I'm not going to give much more context here in this video. I'm so grateful to be able to just keep pushing through this kind of stuff. I mean, it takes a lot of work. Emotionally is a lot of it, you know. It's just, it can be very frustrating if you let it be. I mean, again, I couldn't make it up. I mean, I could try to make up whatever. It's just as real as it is. I'm not trying to make it be anything. Ideally, this flows smoothly if it's my ideal. But, you know, all the surrounding sounds and all the people and all the... I could film these videos anywhere, I understand. I just like it raw. I like it real. I like it blunt, and I like it bold. I like it outside. I like it in nature. The goal is natural on all 4 sides of In the Image Clothing Company. Now, the geese sounds are natural. This bird is natural, but that's not. The airplanes, the motorized vehicles, the electronic vehicles nowadays too, you know. A bunch of just random stuff. The train horn. It is what it is. But this truly is what makes us permanent. In the Image Clothing Company has, is, and always will be huge. Impactful across the entire earth for all the reasons that we are. And we do distinctly different things on each of the four sides of us as well. Thank you. I'm just here for life. Evan Strong, the founder and leader for life of In the Image Clothing Company. I know I'm finger pointing, but I'm making it clear because I'm documenting permanent pieces of truth, and we just don't understand these things if we don't. How to get the body to be unaltered to allow the body to work. Getting out of chronic patterning is really what we do here under In the Image Clothing Company. I have gone before personally, coming from very, very deep chronic patterning, and you can watch my visual and physical transformation of my own personal body. You know, I couldn't make it up. I couldn't make it up. You know, but what you can do is find out the truth that there's a flight school just here in Utah County. You know, everyone deals with it is the point. It's so noisy. Everyone that's around here has to deal with all this noise. It's just not very peaceful, not very serene. It's very unnatural, and it's loud. Just put simply, I mean, it's loud, man. That's how the town just is around here. It's just kind of crazy that, you know, we have to deal with that kind of stuff. It's weird. Really. It didn't exist until it did, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I get it. I mean, I understand it. I get it. I've flown on airplanes. I get the convenience and the efficiency, and I understand people are just at the park hanging out, and I get that the goose is just going to make the sound it's going to make, but there's just so much context behind all this, and my, like, emotional charge behind it. It's not even an emotional charge. It's just like determination is really what it is. To just keep doing it regardless, because I'm either going to do it or I'm not, and it's taken a lot of work to do what I've been doing up until now. But anyway, yeah, chronic patterning, you know, you can watch our team members under In the Image Clothing Company as the team builds. You can seriously watch our poodles as well. You know, we'll breed purebred standard size or large size poodles, and we just specialize in those dogs, but give information on all dogs, applying to all dogs, with our slogan being letting dogs stay natural. The same thing as allowing the body to work here under In the Image Clothing Company's main side. But, you know, you can see that our team members under In the Image Clothing Company have their bodies just working well because we have the understanding to apply into our lives that we freely give here under what I call the gift of video under In the Image Clothing Company. You know, as the founder, and that's why I say it, and the leader for life, just to be clear, I mean, these are permanent documentations, and so just meaning the truth of this is the truth of it. You can measure it mathematically by yourself. Your body is connected with the same 206 bones that anyone else's is if you know, have a generalized, universal human design structured body. And then even if you don't, I mean, we still have to be able to be balanced on Earth's vertical gravity pull, and we still just have to be able to breathe, with it taking the entire body to some degree to stabilize every breath we take, and, you know, all these things. So we just discuss it clearly, what's really happening with the body. We would always be able to be just as much In the Image Clothing Company and never sell a single item of clothing. We'll always have good clothing available, doing at least the very baseline 3 things, staying centered, fitting correct, and being made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials. But in addition to In the Image Clothing Company clothing, dog products, you know, things needed for dogs, you know, ownership. But we'll talk about that more if and where we do, and we've got that mentioned other places under In the Image Clothing Company's 5-word company name, where all 4 sides of us come to. But I want to make it clear that it's about the body. The only reason we discuss clothing at all is because it's the only thing physically placed onto the physical body. We discuss the anatomy of the body in depth. We give information on how to modify our lives living in this modern man-made world placed onto God's natural earth. With these rounded feet, arches, different length 5 toes that we roll evenly off the ends of, different length 4 fingers that wrap evenly around a different length opposable thumb within the universal human design. There's a lot of man-made products and just our man-made environments, societies, towns, cities, and just this world placed on God's earth that don't allow our bodies to work very well. Not only just not very well, but they can very, very, very deeply, chronically, meaning just lasting, life-lasting until addressed or fixed. Yeah, I mean, our bodies get damaged big time by these things, you know, so we just don't know what we don't know. We can't be held accountable for what we don't know. As bold as I speak personally, Evan Strong, just in my own daily life, but then as the founder and leader of In The Image Clothing Company for the rest of my life, I'm not like expecting anyone to know things they don't, but false information is false information. And how do you know it's universal? Is you look at the body as if it was unaltered. How should it work? How does it work until or unless it's altered? And then also you look at physics. You look at the vertical pull to gravity, and you look at the horizontal surface to the earth. And these are the things that will always be determining how the human being could possibly do any physical motion. And then there's no opinion to it, because it's mathematics. It's truth, it's permanent. It never will be anything else besides what it is. And there's just always two sides to a neutral, to the entire human being. But the human being has to work all together, activated as a whole. The entire body's there with its own individual role to play. We can't drag around dead weight or parts of the body just not working, because everywhere any of your body goes, all of it comes. So it all has to play into just existing in general before we can ever try to do anything else, you know? I mean, people try to work out, and you can, but there's only one way the bones connect. There's only one neutral to everything, and there's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion to it. And I'm here for life. So thank you to Jesus the Christ for the ability to document these permanent pieces of truth, because this is what makes us life-lasting. And there you go. In the Image Clothing Company. Stick around if you'd like to. It applies to you.